On August 19th, 2016, Frank Ocean dropped an 18-track, 45-minute, and 52-second visual album that left Universal Records scrambling and allowed them to pull off one of the biggest finesses I've ever seen. We're talking about Endless. Let's go. So with Frank Ocean, everyone usually talks about two albums, his debut album Channel Orange and Blonde, but no one talks about Endless. Like, I specifically remember having conversations about Channel Orange and Blonde. No one talks about Endless. I've never talked to anyone really about Endless, and it made me think, like, I need to talk about this. In this video, I'm just gonna kind of try to explain why I think Endless is just as dope as those other two projects. So this album was recorded from 2013 to 2016, and in an interview with Pitchfork, Tom Sachs, an artist, said that the album was originally 140 minutes, but was edited down to 45. Can you imagine what Endless would be like if it was 140 minutes, 2 hours, 20 minutes?
That'd be something.
I wanted to start off addressing Tom Sachs because, to me, at least in my opinion, he seemed like Frank Ocean's muse for this album. Frank Ocean even gave a special thanks to Sachs at the end of the album. Okay, so I'll come back to Tom Sachs and his importance to this album later. But let me talk about this finesse first. Let me talk about that. Let's get that all out the way, because this is crazy. Def Jam spent over $2 million on recording costs for an album that we thought was going to be titled Boys Don't Cry, which later turns out to be, a magazine that Frank Ocean created. Instead, he dropped the visual album Endless on August 19, 2016. By dropping that album, he fulfilled his contractual agreement with Def Jam. All of that sounds normal. All of that sounds cool, right? But he actually dropped Blonde 24 hours later. So by dropping Blonde literally 24 hours later, he's an independent artist. He's not tied down to any type of label. So his potential profit share went up from 14% to 70%. He was bringing home 70% of the profit shares of his brand new album Blonde, leaving Universal with a visual album that's not going to sell as well as a more traditional album like Blonde. Yo.
I need to take my business advice from Frank Ocean. That's pretty savvy.
So, don't get me wrong. I love Blonde. Blonde is an amazing album, but Endless, man, it's something else, man. It's an experience. I say the word experience a lot doing these deep dives, but that's what it is. It's like a roller coaster ride because you don't know what's coming next. You don't even know when a song starts and when a song ends. It blends so well together. It seems like it's one song, really. It blows my mind how it went from 140 minutes to down to 45 with it sounding just like that. But creating experiences takes time. It seemed like Frank Ocean went ghost, like he dropped off the map, and we had nothing. We had Channel Orange. Luckily it aged like fine wine. And on August 1st, 2016, a video appeared with Frank Ocean just doing woodwork and like random instrumental loops playing in the background. So we knew something was coming. Like, Frank Ocean fans were starving for anything, and he knew it. So he released a Tumblr post that kind of poked fun at the fans for being so impatient. So during the video, Frank Ocean is building a staircase, and Tom Sachs said in the same interview with Pitchfork, he says, and when you see the video, you see him building a stairway to heaven. Endless. The staircase that he's building obviously seems to be the main source of symbolism for this album. In the same interview with Pitchfork, Tom Sachs says that the spiral staircase that Frank Ocean is working on is called an endless column. It's a reference to the Romanian sculptor Constantine Brâncuși's work. So that's some deep artistic stuff that I had no idea about. I'm sure no one really did. Tom Sachs had more to say on the staircase. He said, "If things that are made by hand take time, this stands as something we can all learn from and take an opportunity in whatever our work is and our lives to do things by hand and do things that speak of the individual." That is literally everything Frank Ocean does. He takes his time. He does not let the pressure of fans get to him. He's gonna drop whenever he wants to drop, and I admire him for that, because the last thing that we want is for someone to have a rushed project. We wait long and then we hate it. Like, if you're gonna take your time, make sure that it's good. And that's what he did. And by literally handcrafting a staircase in front of us while you're hearing the work that took so long, it kind of shows you the step by step process of how you make an album that's not just an album but an experience. And that is endless for me. Tom Sachs also has videos about plywood and how to sweep. They're literally called a love letter to plywood and how to sweep. So if you want to learn about plywood, I'll drop those videos in the description for you if you'd like. And this is why I never get into the mode of wanting to rush an artist, because after a 4-year wait, think about this. You wait 4 years until the outro from Channel Orange, and the first thing you hear is At Your Best by Frank Ocean. That's the first thing you hear after 4 years. I could have cried, bro. Like, that song is so beautiful within itself. It's originally made from the Isley Brothers, and then Aaliyah remade it. And I'm already a huge Aaliyah fan. And he sang, the version that Aaliyah did. The falsettos, the dreamy instruments in the background. It's kind of like a minimalist song. Like, it's not a lot of drums or anything like that. It's just him and instruments. And it's almost like you're swirling in the sky while you're listening to this. And it was so much going on, because during the video I was trying to figure out, like, why is he walking around? Why is he building this? But then I was so taken away by the song, I didn't care. I was just along for the ride. That At Your Best, man. It's just one of those songs. I was watching the video, while I was studying this album. I was watching the YouTube video of the full album, and I looked in the comments, and I just saw timestamps, different timestamps, and those timestamps were the beginning of a new song. And they were all different. And that showed me what this album is to everyone. Everyone interprets it differently, but people love this album for different reasons. And I'm going to talk about a few songs that show the differences and how it appeals to different listeners. 50 seconds into the album, At Your Best. We already talked about that, so moving on. 8 minutes and 8 seconds, Unity. And I think this song was for the rap fans, because he starts off the song rapping these 2 verses better than a lot of rappers that I've heard. I mean, dude is just flowing. And it's one of those moments that kind of take you by surprise, because I mean, if you really know Frank, you know he can rap, but he doesn't do it often. But when he does do it, it's dope. It's dope as hell. And it's one of those moments that kind of make you bob your head, and it's like, oh, okay, Frank, like, that's different, and that's kind of what you want. 12 minutes and 51 seconds into this album is the song Wither. And that is a personal favorite of mine and my sister's of this album. We sing it all the time. But it's a play on words. Wither, like a flower, and with her. And he talks about, how those two kind of coincide. As far as the wither, for meaning flower, he talks about, blooming with a partner. And when flowers bloom, they're bright and colorful, and that's our youth and our prime. But as you get older, literally wither away. And he wants people to see him wither, because that lets you know that he did have sunshine, and he had youth, and he had everything, and he lived a long, life. The with her part, I don't really understand because I don't I don't know if he digs the ladies anymore. I'm not quite sure. I don't know his sexual orientation or anything. This isn't about that, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's talking about from other people's perspective or his own. That's the layers of Frank Ocean, man. I try to interpret this stuff the best way I can. At 18 minutes and 58 seconds of the visual album, Slide on Me begins. And Slide on Me is one of those songs that sound developed, it sounds finished, it sounds like a total idea, and it's just a really smooth track of him kind of rapping, harmonizing, but also singing as well. And he also released a remix with
Shoot.
Young Thug on Blonde Radio. So it's a dope song, and I'm sure it was a favorite of a lot of people who listen to the album. So these next two songs that I'm gonna talk about kind of shows how one song just fades into another, and you can hardly tell when one begins and one ends. At 22 minutes and 2 seconds, Sideways begins, and he's rapping again, but harmonizing with it as well. And he's talking about, I guess, the typical artist or celebrity type of thing. You know, they kick you when you're down, and when you're up, they're trying to push you down and stuff like that. And he talks about Sideways, his family, and friends and fans. They set him straight and stuff like that. But the thing that I love about the song is that the transitions, number one, they come out of nowhere, and they're so smooth. When it flows, I didn't even know at the 24-minute mark that Florida was beginning, and he goes from this harmonizing, rapping, kind of trappish beat to almost an opera-like song, and if you blink, you'll miss the transition. Like it was smooth. Like Florida is one of the most beautiful songs, and he doesn't even say a word. It's just him. It's him singing. It kind of reminded me of I don't know. It kind of reminded me of something out of Lion King. It reminded me of them holding Simba up, and yeah, I can picture that song over top of that image in my mind. I don't. It just took me to that place. At the 32-minute and 44-second mark, it's a song titled Higgs, Higgs, and it's just a power ballad, that comes out of nowhere. He's talking about, having an intimate relation with someone, and he's describing the fear that he has of it fading over time, which is, something that a lot of us go through when you're in a relationship. But it's just one of those songs that I did not see coming. There are no power ballads really like that. Maybe Wither as a possibility, but besides that, not really.
And that's your best, of course.
But he's singing with such passion and strength about what he's talking about. You can literally hear the fear in his voice while he's singing. It's beautiful that it was towards the end of the album. I like that he kind of saved that, for last, and then he picked you right back up with the trap song right afterwards. So it's the album is a roller coaster, man. But it's one of those roller coasters that you will get on as much as you possibly could, because it's a beautiful album. It can calm you down. It's got songs that can hype you up. It's got songs that if you don't feel like singing along, you can just listen, because there are some portions of the album that has instrumentals, just dope beats on it. Like, it's everything. And as a bonus, at the end of the video, he kind of walks up the stairway, so that's kind of dope within itself. But in my opinion, this is Frank Ocean's most underrated album, and I listen to it more than I do Blonde and Channel Orange, just because recently I kind of got a little tired of those two albums. But it's my favorite. I just like the development. I like the rollout of albums. That's a big thing for me. I love rollouts of albums, and the way that he dropped the video with no sound and everything just kind of made it mysterious. And I was so hyped to hear some type of Frank Ocean, and this was the first project that we got in 4 years from him. I just always gravitated towards his album whenever I wanted to listen to Frank Ocean. So that's it on this one. I got some stuff coming in. I got a vinyl coming in that I'm gonna talk about. Give me maybe 2 weeks. I don't want to put too much of a stress on myself. I got other things going on, but I do have more of these coming. I really enjoy doing these deep dives. So if you guys have an album that I want to do, if I don't have the vinyl, I mean, I can go get it or something. And just drop some suggestions down low, man, and let me know what you guys think, man. I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys soon. If you guys are still here, man, thank you. Number one, I got a couple things that I want to plug. First things first, I love music. I'm sure you guys know that by watching my stuff on my channel. But me and my homie, man, we do mixes in our spare time. We like to take popular rap songs and put it over classic R&B songs. And I'm telling you, like, it rides. Like, I wouldn't be recommending it for you, you know, if I didn't think it was dope myself. So I call it Simp Tapes. Go check that out. I'll be having the song playing underneath this while I'm talking, and I'll put the link in the description for that. And then next, I just want to plug my homie's page, Sarays. She's like basically family to me, so I know a lot of guys are on here, and you know, it's a makeup page, but you know, tell your wives, tell your friends, tell your girlfriends to go check her out, man, because I know that makeup stuff looks complicated, and maybe she can help with that. So I'm gonna put a link in the description for her page as well. And if you go to my YouTube channel, like the page, she's the featured channel on there, man. So go check her out, man. Tell her I sent you, and I appreciate it, man. I'll have a video soon. I don't want to take too much more of you guys' time, but I'll be back, man, and thank you guys for all the love.
Turn that camera off.
All right.